All right. My name is Starseed Bey, and this is part two of what I was just talking about in the previous video. We're just touching base on looking at higher selves from a different aspect. Higher selves from a different aspect. Whether it be, like I talked about a little bit ago, I have a lot of memories of being a Lyran being, which is a cat being, a tiger being, a lion being. I have a lot of memories of that as a past life and currently as well, and I'll talk about that here. As well as being an Octurian. I have a lot of memories of being an Octurian as well. And we really have to look at this aspect. I didn't really plan to really talk about this stuff, but hey, that's part of uh, recording live. As you know, the spirit will let you know what needs to be talked about. So yeah, I have these many experiences of being Octarian as well. I have these memories. And where do these memories come from? Where do these memories come from? It's uncanny. The power of imagination. Where do all these stories come from? Whether it be in books, comic books, video games, movies, animation, like anime. Where does all this stuff come from? The power of imagination. Where does the power of imagination come from? It's uncanny. The abilities that we have is awesome, and it's really overlooked within us. And the power of imagination and the power of higher selves. So let me touch base with higher selves before I get distracted with imagination. So one of the main things, reason why I was talking about higher selves in the previous video, is that we have to be more real with this. What is this? Back in 2010, I was learning about these aspects of higher selves. What are these? And a lot of the new age people are still stuck in that. 7 years later, that's what it is for myself, or 8 years, 7, 8 years. We're into what, 2018? So I guess it would be 8 years. Some people are still stuck in the higher self aspect, and they're not learning from it. What is a higher aspect, and what are we learning from it? It's a self awareness of knowledge and a way to balance our lives and restructure our life. We don't need books. We don't need books to do a self reflection on our life and to become a more mature self. Just like I've said previously, we have to have a heart of a child, but we have to have a mindset of an adult. We have to be balanced. We have to be professional. We have to keep good morals for ourselves, because as an adult, children and teenagers are going to look to us, and they're going to look to us as, hey, this is what I want to be, or hey, this is what they're doing, so I want to do that as well. If you're an adult and you're reckless and immature, you're acting like a teenager, a rebellious teenager, and you're like 30 years old, right? And this is very true. 30 years old, and people are still stuck in the rebellious teenager stage of creating riots and protests and things like that. Our children are watching this stuff, and they're going to be influenced by the immaturity of these 30-year-olds or these 25-year-olds, the immaturity. What are we learning from this? We're not learning anything from this stuff. We're not learning anything. It's not benefiting us at all, and just like with the laws too, we really have to look at the laws and not fight against the laws, but learn about how the laws work, learn about how the courts work. Learning how we can benefit the laws, because the laws are good. There is good laws. In the courtroom, there is stuff that is good, but it's the people that run it that corrupt the laws. And we really have to be professional when we go in those manners. Just like when people are trying to overtake land, just like with the, I'm trying to remember, it happened last year. Oh man, what was it called? Um, Basically, it's just people are trying to do oil, drill for oil, and it's going through all of our clean water. I don't remember what it was called, uh, but yeah, just it's just things like that. Utilizing the courts, and if there's corrupt people, they're going to overlook it and continue on. That's the power of greed and money, is that people buy out people, and that's the power of cartel. That's just kind of the world we live in right now. Is the sweep things under the rug, and that's what we're seeing. But it's being exposed as well. So I'm gonna get out of that because that's a whole different ball game. Like I said, there's so much to talk about, and it's just really distinguishing that. So yeah, um, yeah, with the higher selves, I learned at the end of the day is that these higher selves really just teaches you and trains you and realizes that all the answers are within you. You don't need books to to find balance within yourself. Again, I go back to John 14 verse 6. I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. No one goes to the Father except through me. Say that to yourself, and you look within yourself. You learn how to forgive yourself, heal yourself. It's so very important to learn that, and that's what these higher selves are. Um, New Age people are still stuck in that. They're still stuck in that. Oh, my third eye is open. I see all these beings and things like that. But it's great to talk about that. But what are you showing the world? What are you trying to tell people who are living a more uh, balanced life, right? Um, Trying to keep a more foundational structured life. Like I said, I got friends who are atheists, so they really bypass the spiritual realm, uh, learning how to heal yourself through a good foundation, like through Christ, Mashiach. They really bypass this stuff, and they really just have a really kind of a data perception, if you're familiar with Star Trek The Next Generation, or an android perception, AI perception, like the Sophia android. They can have a really blunt answer, but they miss the heart of it and the learning aspect of it. Having a spiritual uh, awareness in your life really generates a whole different perception of life. Again, I'm not no doctor, but I really feel that you can really heal yourself and cure yourself from a lot of mental disorders or diseases. Again, I ain't no doctor. Do what you need to do, but I really feel that if we had good leaders and foundational structures, um, and more of an open mind when we listen to people. Just like myself, I was a super depressed person. Um, I didn't really have a voice to go to help, so I did my own self healing, and I was really oh, I don't like the word bliss or blessed, but it just came to me. In 2010, my life just changed. I was a negative person, didn't really know where to go to in life, and things just changed, and I just started doing a lot of research and things like that. But it just was my path. It was just like an alarm clock clicked. But the reason why I was able to look at life differently is because I always looked at life differently. Even though I was a negative person, I still had a strong foundation with Christ in the back of my mind, so I never lost a spiritual touch. Um, but I just was aware, and I just became awake in 2010, and it just blossomed into who I am today. So now I am a voice for you guys to look at different ways to heal yourself. So yeah, so let me touch base. I don't want to talk too much about this higher dimensional stuff, but it's definitely there. It's definitely there. It's still talked about. Like I said, the New Age people are kind of like stuck in this higher dimensional aspects, and same with people who channel is the same thing. They're just stuck there, and they don't see what's there in front of them. What is this channeling aspect? We don't need to be praising the words that are coming through channeling. We need to be learning from it. What is the words? What is the advice that is being brought out? If you look at these channeling things, it's always the same stuff over and over and over again. The world's changing. More love is being brought into the world. Um, the energy shifts are happening. Um, the planet is changing. The alignments are changing. It's always the same stuff over and over again. Um, we're always watching over you. Um, the power of the beings. Now, this is where you have to distinguish what's being said when they say, "Hey, the Pleiadians are protecting us. Uh, the Arcturians are protecting us." You have to look at that. You have to look at that. And that's what I said. You have to be aware of those who want to put themselves in the spotlight. And that's the same with channeling. Um, the true higher mind or higher self aspect um, is going to say, hey, you should be looking into this. How is it going to better your life? How can we better your life? How is it going to benefit you? Just focusing so much on energy and talking to these beings. How are you utilizing these tools? It's a higher state of mind, and we can bring that balance and use our vessel, right? We can use our body, we can use our voice, we can use where we type, everything. This is our business. This is that person that the viewer is watching. We don't need to see somebody closing their eyes and having another voice go through. That doesn't benefit us because it doesn't have a sense of realism to it. And that's where people are going to fall away from that. We have to look at it from a different aspect. Again, I've had 8 years of experience just kind of putting all of this stuff together, all of these tools together and how it benefits your life in the end. A higher self is a higher mind. Really realizing that it is within us and that we can have the power and the ability to heal ourselves and overcome addictions and the I want, I want, I want. That's what this world view is on, is I want, I want, I want, I want perception without the power of or the awareness of forgiveness and balance within our lives. It's all about balance. All about balance. It's definitely key. Let me see if anything's going on here. Looks like Derek. How's it going, Derek? Let me refresh this and see if anything's going on. Again, I can't really see anything because it just doesn't really pop up. But hey, as a whole, it's all good. What's going on here? All right. Okay. Oop. Oh, my phone's falling here. All right. So, anyways, getting back to what I was talking about. Um, it's just all about healing ourselves. All about healing ourselves. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. This is called The Cause. So this is James 1, verse 14 and 15. But each one is tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed, or his own desires and the I want, I want, I want. Then when desire has convinced, it gives birth to ego, right? Like I said, with sin, we have to look at it in this day and age, it's ego. So then when desire has convinced, it gives birth to ego. And ego, when it is full grown, brings forth death. Brings forth death. That means that we get so swallowed up in our own personas and desires that we lose touch with what's important, and that's with our heart space. It's with our heart space and learning about forgiveness and maintaining that humility. for others, not becoming too overconfident and losing touch with our heart, and which so many people do. Like a narcissist is a good example. Just wanting to be in the spotlight. They will say whatever they want, even if it's a lie. They'll say whatever they want to build enough boost and confidence for themselves, and see if those people are going to fall for that lie. See if people are going to fall for that lie of, hey, if I say all this stuff, if it's not true, people are going to listen to it and fall for it. That's the part of falling into the life of ego or the life of sin. People fall into that all the time. It's uncanny. Then we also got Mark 7, 20 through 23. What comes out of a man that defiles, or what comes out of a human that defiles a human? For from within, out of the heart of a human, perceive evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, theft, covetousness. Apologies about that. Don't know what that word is. Wickedness, deceit, lewdness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these ego things come from within and defile a human being. Defile a human being. We give birth to these shadow beings. We allow it to manifest within ourselves. This makes you aware. The scripture right here makes you aware that we are in control of how we present ourselves. We're in control of how we present ourselves. Are we presenting these shadow beings to manifest within ourselves? Again, go back to the previous videos I made, talking about the spirits and how we are, and how we can be heavily influenced by these spirits. Spirits aren't just good and evil. Spirits feed off of our energy, and they can give us thought patterns and ideas. Again, we can have spirits within us. We have all this parasites and bacteria within us, all these little mini consciousness that live within us, and they can influence us. And, this is the whole point of looking into detoxing yourself, paying attention to what you eat, things like that. I'm going to make a video about what you put within your body, and why it's so important to really pay attention to that. So look forward to that video. I'll just have to put some stuff together. But yeah, it's so very important to realize, what you're putting within your body. Not only from a mind perception, or over ego perception, but just the food you put within your body can affect you as well. Can allow these thoughts to come in. But this also brings into the empathic awareness, that we're all empathic, so we are downloading everybody's ideas as well. Just like the news itself. Again, the news is its own business, and it's going to generate what it wants to publicize as well. Hopefully that makes sense. But at the end of the day, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to learn to forgive ourselves daily, sit down, pray, meditate, whatever it is, to create a balanced structure within our lives. Otherwise, we are going to create this within ourselves. We're going to be an adulterer, fornication, thieves, wickedness, deceit, looking from a evil perception, blasphemy, pride, and foolishness. Pride and foolishness is a big one in this life. A lot of people have a lot of pride. And again, that's part of the spotlight. And we have to look at that too. And that's why I kind of been hinting at as I've been talking about this, is that, a lot of people are creating these speeches, or these conventions, these New Age conventions of talking about how to look at life differently. There's a lot of great tools, and definitely the tool aspect is what we have to look at. Whether it be excuse me, whether it be through, bracelets with magnets and copper and gold, that benefits us. That helps our energy and our circulation. Um, you look at the Ra key, if you guys are familiar with Arcturian Ra. He creates a Ra key. Those kind of tools are awesome. And when conventions have tools presented, just like eye pyramids, is another good one. So definitely look at eye pyramids because they're big pyramid structures that are made out of copper and different minerals and magnets and things like that. That benefits us because that helps our body. It helps restructure our body. And that's what we need. That's what we need in the world. Because, what are we surrounded by right now is just uh, uh, electricity is just surrounding us at the moment. We don't have no magnets or crystals or gold or copper that are healing our bodies. We're open to just electricity and these waves that are sent through these phones and these towers and things that are actually harming us than actually doing good. So as far as a new age convention standpoint, tools are good. We need tools. The speakers, on the other hand, is what we have to look at. The speakers, what are they presenting to the world? What are they presenting to the world? So I'm going to go ahead and end this video, not the live, but in this video, and then I'll do a part 3 talking about speakers. So I'll talk to you guys in just a little bit.